Hey automators, Kelly here with a brand new Zap for you. Staying on top of your social media activity can be a great way to nurture leads, but sifting through your different accounts manually to find and touch base with new engagements can be really difficult and time consuming. So naturally, that's where Zapier comes in. So in this demo, I'm going to show you how to automatically create a Trello card for keeping track of engagements for your Twitter account when you get a new follower. I'll also show you how to add a checklist template so that your team can consistently follow the same process every single time. So here we go. Okay, so let's take a look at how we're going to automate the creation of a Trello card and checklist for handling Twitter engagements. Now, of course, you could use this with a few other social media accounts such as Facebook or Instagram and different trigger events. But in this case, we're going to use the new follower of me in Twitter trigger event. So if we go into our trigger, and once we've created that, we'd use Twitter as our app, and the trigger event would be new follower of me. And I'm just using a Twitter account that I use for art that I have, this particular one here. And I've pulled in some test data to use. And then we're going to use our create card in Trello action event. So we then, as our step 2, use Trello as our app. And the action event is going to be create card. And we connect our account and then set up the card that we want to have push in every time a new follower is added to our Twitter account. So I've created a board called social media engagement, and I'll just go into my Trello account so that you can see what this looks like. So my board is called social media engagement. I've got 3 different lists here. I've got new, in progress, and complete. And I just want to create a new card in the new list. So I've created that, I've selected that one here. And the name of the card is going to be new follower of me and the name of the follower. And then I've just included all the details that I want relevant to collect in that card. So I've just put in the name, screen name, URL, description, follow account, and any additional information that I want to add in there. I haven't added any labels. You can do that as well as you want, or custom labels. Wanted to go at the bottom of the list of cards, so underneath this one. And this is quite a crucial one here. So in this case, it's only me that's handling the Twitter, the social media Trello board. But if you have several people in your team, you could allocate the number of different members in your team to actually be assigned to this particular card. And this is quite handy as well, because when we look at the checklist step, which is the next one, this is quite relevant, because the whole point of adding a checklist in is to make sure that the rest of your staff in your team, including yourself, consistently handle the engagement in the way that you want it to be handled. I've also put in a due date here, so I've put in +4 hours, but you could put in anything like today. You could just put in without a due date, put in a specific date if you wanted to. You could also add in a formatter step if you liked here, but in this case we're just going to put in +4 hours, because I want this to be due in a few hours after the follower has followed me at my account. All the rest of it I'm not going to worry about. And if we go to the next step, just close that. I'll just actually show you what my card looks like. So if you have a look here, it's got all of the details that I've pushed through, all of this information, and this is the checklist, but we haven't worked on that step yet. So the next thing to do is add the checklist to the card in Trello. So action event is add checklist to card, and we're using the app Trello, as we know. And then with regards to the action, First, let's have a look at how to actually create a checklist template to use in this particular step. So let's go back to our Trello board. And if we have a look at this, all you really have to do is add a card and then add the checklist steps. So if I put test card for template, and I go into this card, all I really want to do here is add in an actual checklist. So I'm going to add in none and test step 1, test step 2. Okay, and that I can actually use this particular card and this checklist as my template. Okay, but what I've done to actually highlight it as a template is I mark it as make a template. So you can use this as a manual step within Trello. So you can actually just create a card from this template here if you wanted to. But in terms of the automation will work with whatever checklist you want to identify. You don't actually have to mark it as template. So this is the one that I'm using that I created earlier. So new Twitter follower checklist template. I want the instructions to be that everybody should use this template every time a new Twitter follower is added and follow the steps consistently. So we want to research the follower's Twitter account, add lead notes to the follower in Google Sheets, and send a custom welcome message. And obviously you can customize this in whatever way you want to. So we'll come out of that. And if we go back into our Zapier editor, so with our step 3 to manage the checklist card in Trello, we're going to choose our board as our social media engagement board. The list doesn't really matter. The card that I want to choose, I've actually mapped from my previous step here. The checklist name, in this case, I just want the checklist to be called checklist every time. I don't want it to be called anything specific, but you could map in a step here, for example, to say that the checklist is that name to identify it. And the checklist that I want to copy is I would just go into this drop-down list and check for the template that I want to use. So this is the one that we actually just created a few seconds ago, but the one that I actually want to use is the one that I showed you here, which is this one. So we've selected that one. Checklist items doesn't matter, and the checklist position I've put on top, but that depends if you have other checklist items in there as well. So that's our step there. I'll just skip that test. And this is what it would actually look like when you have your card that's been produced in Trello. So here's my checklist here. That's the description as we talked about earlier. And that is pretty straightforward. That's all you need to be able to create a new Trello card and a checklist using a template from Trello to handle your Twitter engagements. You can use it with any other social media trigger such as Facebook Messenger using the new message to page trigger event, or Instagram using the new tagged media trigger event. So no more missed engagements, no more wasted time, simple, elegant, and structured. So if you want an easy way to get the Zap set up, you can grab the template at solvaa.co.uk/templates. And for more tips like this one, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so that you're instantly notified when I post a new video. And if you want to hear about when my new course is published with tons of Zapier tips and tricks, get on my course launch list. The details are in the description right down below. So, see you in the next video. Work smarter, not harder.